Hola compañeros y bienvenidos a esta lectura. Today we are taking a little break from sort of the grammar side of language and going to be talking about a little phonetic piece, which is how to roll your Spanish R's. This is notoriously tricky to do in the Spanish language. It's something that when I first started to learn Spanish, I was not able to do. And through practice and persistence, I was slowly able to produce some semblance of the rolled R, and now it becomes to me quite easy, although there are still certain sound combinations where it is still difficult for me. So it takes a lot of practice to be able to do this. So as many of my students often ask me, how do I roll my R's? There's really one particular strategy or technique that I have found that works best for not only for myself but for many of my students as well, and I'll share with you that strategy. In addition to talking about just one technique that you might be able to do to be able to roll your R's, we'll talk about also when you need to roll your R's, which, as you might expect, it's when you see the double R, but there are some other contexts that you might that might surprise you. So first thing, Spanish R is not like the English R, right? So the Spanish R is more, I guess you might describe it as sort of a tap of the tongue on the top of the mouth, whereas the R, the English R, there's really not a tap, so it sounds like coming through. The Spanish R is more like duh. It's hard to sort of produce that sound singularly, but in a context like ka da, you can start to hear that it sounds more like almost the English D rather than the English R. So here's that strategy. This is sort of the magic trick that seems to work for many of my students, including helping me to better produce this sound. So the Spanish R is the same sound produced by the double T in the English word butter. Now, if you're in some part of the world where you actually pronounce the word butter, the English word butter, as butter, this might not work for you. I'm in the western part of the United States, and so we say butter with sort of the English D. But if butter's not working for you, you might think of like rudder or something else that has that D sound that sort of happens in the middle of a word. That's really what you want. And for me, it's butter. So to produce a Spanish R, it helps also to try to produce the sound as you exhale after taking a deep breath. So one is you're going to want to know that it kind of sounds like the double T in butter, and especially when you're practicing, you are going to need more air than what you think, and this is best accomplished by taking a deep breath in and then trying to produce the sound as you exhale. So let's give it a try here, and feel free to pause and practice this as you'd like. So take a deep breath, and on the exhale, say the word butter. But the key is try to stay on that sound, the double T's, as long as you can. So take that deep breath in and then exhale, but try to stay on the double T's. So I'll kind of model that for you as best I can. So deep breath in, butter. Okay. It's sort of a silly exercise, but I promise I have had students give this a try over and over again during a course that I teach on phonetics, and some of them do come around and are able to do it. Now, I won't lie to you and say that this is a magic trick that now all my students can roll their R's. The fact is that it is a quite complex phonetic sound to produce, but those who have sort of been able to produce it or even to get better at producing it, this particular technique does seem to help. So when to roll your R's? What contexts do you need to roll your R's? There are two, and as I mentioned, the first one is the one you might expect when you see the double R written in a word. So carro, burro, hierro, you've got those double R's there, so they're going to come through. The other one, which was a surprise to me when I first learned it, is you also roll the R if it's the first letter of a word, even if it's a single R, as you see here in these examples. So the Spanish word rey, king, right, is not rey, right, using that Spanish single R. It's actually rey, So you want to roll that R. The name Ramon, right? It's not Ramon or Ramon, obviously. It's Ramon. And religion, religión, right? So it's got that bit of a trill to that rolled R coming through to it because it is the first letter of a word. So produce the single R. Now, and this shouldn't be too difficult to understand, but you produce the single R when you see a single R in any place other than as the first letter of the word. So here, just by comparison, to hear that single R sound, cara, barato, corazón. Now, it's different again from the English R, right? I'll pronounce these with English R's. Cara, barato, corazón. You want that bit of a flip, almost like a tap to the top of the mouth with your tongue. Cara. And again, if you think of it as the English D, it might be able to help you out more. Cara, barato, corazón. Okay? Here's what they call a trabalengua, a tongue twister in Spanish. So you can pause it and go to town on trying to pronounce the double R's using that technique of deep inhale and then exhaling, trying to maintain that double T sound in butter. Or just read through this and try to sort of practice until you get that double R to roll off your tongue. I promise you that it can be done. Again, I was not able to do this when I first started learning Spanish, and now it comes pretty naturally to me. So I'll give it a shot here. I'm not great at trabalenguas, but here it goes. Un burro comía berros y el perro se los robó. El burro lanzó un rebuzno y el perro al barro cayó. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Trabalenguas can be sort of silly, but they do help that practice, giving you the sound in very complex arrangements to sort of challenge yourself to produce those phonetic sounds. And I'll leave you here with an apology to any vegetarians out there or vegans. But here we have some nice slabs of meat. This is a typical style of an Argentinian barbecue. I've had the opportunity to associate with several Argentines before, have many friends from Argentina, and this is sort of a national icon for them. The grill with not only just hamburgers and hot dogs as we have here in the United States, but all different kinds of meats just cooking and sizzling together. So hopefully that phonetic lesson helps you get your mind around the rolling the Spanish R. It is a tricky thing, but with practice and persistence, it can be done. Adios.